Well, hello, everyone. My name is Dennis Schultz. I'm the Executive Director of the Blacks in Technology Foundation. If you're not familiar with Blacks in Technology, we are the largest community of Black technologists and a 501c3 nonprofit. We advocate and promote the inclusion of more Black and African American people in technology, whether that be technical roles or non-technical roles. It's free to join, and we encourage everyone to participate in events like this and join our community so you can not only receive, but give back. So we have a number of programs and resources available, including partnerships with companies like Microsoft, and I'm happy to have the TEALS team here today. Raul Ned is going to be kicking us off. And Raul, do you want to do a quick introduction of yourself and your team?
Actually, we're going to have Matt. He'll be doing the introductions, but take it away, Matt. So you.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Can you all hear me all well? Oh, cool. All right. Thank you for having me. And thank you for having the TEALS program. Thank you for having us. It is great. I'm so, first of all, I'm excited to be able to just present to Black folks. Like this is something that is well needed in all of our cities. But it is extremely dear to my heart because I grew up with organizations like NSBE that were really like something that I had to be involved in my entire life. So let me give you a little background on myself. My background is in mechanical engineering. And then from mechanical engineering, as a process engineer, I went to being a sales engineer and an implant process engineer, a corporate process engineer, and none of that filled my passions for education. So I ended up getting my master's in education and developing curriculum and instruction, STEM-based programs. And that was as an entrepreneur. And then I ended up here at the TEALS program. I'm so excited to be here. I love it. And I am the regional manager and one of the regional managers in Michigan, based in Detroit. And I will let Raul and Bashir introduce themselves.
Okay, I'll kick it off. My name is Raul Ned. I'm the regional manager here in New York City. I'm actually in the regional manager for Brooklyn, Rochester, and Buffalo. And basically, my experience is similar to many Blacks in technology. I have about 20 years experience in many different roles: database administrator, systems administrator, IT project manager, disaster recovery coordinator. And as I moved up the chain within corporate America, what basically I saw was less and less of me. And it was definitely something that always bothered me, and I wanted to do something about that. So through a friend, colleague, I started teaching as an adjunct professor at CUNY. And in that role, I saw it as a way to increase the pipeline and draw students in. And I spent a lot of time running around uh, that campus trying to entice students into the computer science and information technology space. But one of the challenges that you have is if you are going into a college program and it's the first time you're being introduced to a lot of this material, you're really not going to be set up for success. And that's one of the problems that we have at the collegiate level. So when this opportunity came to work with Microsoft TEALS, I jumped at it because what we're here to do is to increase the pipeline of students at the high school level by increasing computer science curriculums for high schools and helping them really stand up computer science curriculums for diverse students and give them the opportunity so that when they get to the collegiate level, the professional level, they'll be set up for success. So with that, I'll pass it on to Bashir.
Thank you so much, Raul. And hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you all for taking time out of your evenings to listen to us talk about the Microsoft Philanthropies TEALS program. We really appreciate it. As folks have said, my name is Daquan Bashir, Dr. Daquan Bashir. And my story is a bit different from all of Rawls and Matt's. I actually didn't work in the industry. I did some freelance stuff on the side here and there, but I actually went straight and directly into education. The issue that Rawls is talking about now is something that I myself experienced in college, because I was never exposed to computer science in high school, but because my uncle has studied computer engineering at the school he went to, I was looking up to him and I was like, okay, I'm going to study computer engineering. Seeing how much math was in it, and I was like, never mind. And then I realized, computer science is cool. I can do that. Still a lot of math, but that was okay. I developed a love for math, through that time. And I went into education, teaching primarily in high schools, teaching primarily computer science and mathematics here and there. So I have about 10 years of direct teaching experience, standing in front of the classroom, delivering various computer science concepts, mathematical concepts, and just working with students and trying to grow their love and knowledge and exposure to computer science. So, being able to be a part of the TEALS team for about 2.5, almost 3 years now, it's been a great thing for me. And, it fits kind of directly into that pocket of what I studied in school, which was computer science, and, my experience as a STEM teacher. So it's been pretty great. And once again, thank you all for coming.
Yeah, so it's kind of great to be able to hear everybody's stories, because I mean, as I talk to my friends, as I talk to my colleagues, I realize that though we all have different stories, there are all similarities. There are similarities in all of our stories. And one of the things you see is like, wait, we get to the college level or get to the industry level and look back and whoa, where happened to all of the Black folks who said they wanted to be engineers? What happened to all the Black folks who said they wanted to be in tech, who said they wanted to be in computer science? And so as we kind of get into this presentation, I want you to reflect on your own personal experience. What happened to you? When you got into industry, what was like your moment that was like, wow, okay, this is different, And so we're for a little while, we're just going to talk for a little bit. I got a couple of activities that I want you to participate in. And the first thing I want you to do is I want you to put a 1 in the chat if someone showed you the ropes of your current field. So somebody was there to mentor you. Somebody was there to kind of show you how to do it. Put a 1 in the chat. Okay, I got a couple ones. Maybe some still typing. One flat out said no.
That's a resounding no.
Yeah. Yeah, a resounding no. Yeah. So there was no one there, and for that person who said no, and for those of us who said yes, I want you to reflect on what that just one person or somebody who showed you the ropes or did not show you the ropes, what impact that made on your career journey. And to think about, what if you had that person to show you the ropes earlier, or since you didn't have it at all, what if you had somebody who pulled you to the side and said, hey, let me show you how this is supposed to go, or let me show you what we do in our field. What if you could have had access to someone earlier in your life? As you kind of reflect on that, I want you to think of a significant memory or a person who showed you something that made you either question your career decision or inspired you to explore more. Now, think about somebody who made you question or inspired you to explore more. Now, me personally, as an engineer, I ran into some engineers when I came into college and was like, whoa, like you're an extreme personality. I am not like you. Like you fit in this box and you're the typical stereotypical, you walk around with, a square pocket, like, and a pocket protector. And I'm like, that's not me, And I also ran into people once I got into industry that flat out just didn't like me, and flat out, because I had a personality, they flat out didn't like me. And so I questioned, like, do I belong here? Is this where I'm supposed to be? And then the beautiful thing, as we kind of talked about earlier, I had some people who kind of showed me the ropes, and somebody who was like, hey, let me kind of guide you along your pathway. And when you think about that for yourself, considering all of that for yourself, considering your own experience, what do you think are some of the contributing factors to the gap between computer science and industry needs and the educational output of students ready to meet those needs? So what are some of the contributing factors between computer science or any really STEM field, any tech field, industry needs, and the educational output of students ready to meet those needs? Now, I'm not asking you to quote the research. I'm not asking you, I'm not asking you to tell me what somebody else told you in their presentation. I'm asking based on your own personal experience, because we just kind of reflected for a little bit. What are some of those contributing factors? Keep it short and easy and put them in the chat. And as you type them, I'm going to say go. It's a waterfall chat. It's an activity we use. So do not press enter until I say go. So type your response. What are some contributing factors? Keep it short and easy. Just put a factor there. And then when I say go, I want to see all of those factors come in. I'm gonna give you a couple seconds. All right, go. Digital divide, lack of role models, lack of skilled mentors. Thank you, Brandy. Anybody else? Okay. If we don't have anybody else who wants to contribute, that's fine. We'll go off of that. If you think about the digital divide, if you think about the lack of role models, if you think about the lack of skilled educators, if you think of the fact that someone said, no, I had nobody there to show me my skill field in 1978-ish. And if you think about those things, those contributing factors, I want you to reflect as we go through this presentation, how the TEALS program is meeting some of those needs. As we listen, hopefully you'll come away with a sense of how you can not only help to close the industry needs gap, but give students the opportunity to explore a new career and potentially meet their significant someone earlier. The lack of glamour in tech relates to our culture. Ooh, that's really good. You know, what's funny though, is I often, so you see me here, I got this chain on, I wear earrings. I often, people say, you don't look like a typical engineer. And then I respond to that question of, what does a typical engineer look like? Because we know Black Boy Fly is a real thing. And we don't have enough Black boys who can be fly and stay in the front and say, I am an engineer. I've been through this. I've done this. And so, yeah, they may not be glamorous. It may not be a glamorous job, but to be able to see somebody who looks like you, who can be cool and smart at the same time, is not something we often run across. And that's some of the opportunities why we need people like you and I in a TEALS classroom, so that these students can say, computer science is not only something that's useful, but it can be cool. I mean, as everybody on this call probably already knows, there's a huge gap in computer science education. 67% of all new jobs in STEM are in computing. Computing is the #1 source of new wages in the US. And that's just right now. That's going to continue to grow. But only 47% teach CS. Only 40% of high schools teach CS. And in 2016, 75 individuals graduated from universities equipped to teach CS, compared to over 12,000 in math. Now, that's saying that we don't have the teachers qualified to teach it. And we have a solution here at the TEALS program. If you've never heard of TEALS, TEALS stands for Technology, Education, and Literacy in Schools. We are all across the US and BC, Canada, and our goal is to build equitable, inclusive computer science programs in high schools. We do that through a couple of different ways. We do that between creating partnerships between industry and educators. Our volunteers are the industry we're talking about. You are the foundation of the TEALS program. TEALS volunteers fill the subject matter gaps for teachers. They impact TEALS volunteers. The impact that TEALS makes, the volunteers makes, multiplies over time, because as you continue to go through the pipeline and continue to come back and volunteer year after year, that a relationship that you're building in that school just grows. It is substantial. And you'll be able to talk to Brandy, one of my favorite volunteers in my Detroit area. Don't tell anybody I said that. But she's been with the TEALS program for 4 years, and she can speak to that impact growing over and over as she continues to be in the program. Just to see a little bit about the program, we are in 455 schools, it's 589 classes. And one of the big things we like to point out is that 35% of our students that go through classes are female. That is extremely important to us. Extremely important to us, because we want to make sure that not only are we getting students into computer science, but we're getting students that that have not normally been in computer science. So that means females, and that means us. That's why TEALS is committed to accelerating our work to close the skills gap for Black and African-American students. Last year, the CEO of Microsoft, Satya Nadella, made a commitment to the Black and African-American community that over the next 5 years, we were gonna increase access to participation in CS for our community. And that's why we're here. We're here to recruit people who look like us to be in front of our students who look like us and say, hey, not only is computer science accessible to you, but computer science can be whatever you want it to be. It can be as cool as you want it to be, as nerdy as you want it to be, as tech driven as you want it to be, and as passion driven as you want it to be. Some of the things that happen when we have the TEALS program is that 48% of students see themselves in a CS career after taking a CS class, after a TEALS class. That's a big number. 48% of students. If you take a TEALS class, then you have a better chance of seeing yourself in a CS career. Wow. 58% of students see themselves continuing to study CS after a TEALS class. And the biggest number is 91% of students see themselves going to college after taking a class in TEALS. And that's a big number because, as we know, not everybody's going to go into CS. Not everybody here is in CS. But if I can get you to decide that you're going to go to college and that you can pursue tech a little harder, then I've done my job. So the way that the TEALS program is structured is we set you up for success as a volunteer. And can you go back one? Yes, yep. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Volunteers are trained over the summer, so there's a professional development. Then there's also, we build teaching teams. So the teaching teams are kind of trained together and then managed by a dedicated regional manager who helps you to kind of grow as a team together. And part of the ways that we help you is we do classroom observations and give you feedback on what we know is not your expertise. We know teaching may not be your expertise, but computer science is. And that's what we want you to focus on bringing. We'll help you bring the teaching part as well as the teacher who is in the classroom. There'll be multiple opportunities to share out, multiple opportunities to be able to talk about your experience. And that does well for creating a network. That does well for you being able to not only talk about your experience, but be able to live and breathe an example of what we need in our community, which is Black tech professionals. And from there, I think I'm going to let Raul take over from there.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Yes, like Matt has mentioned, right? We're not just going to throw you into the classroom. I know many people may not have, you have computer science knowledge, but you may not have teaching experience, or you may have some years since you've last taught, since you're working in industry. We'll provide 20 hours of, it's going to be 40 hours in total, but 20 hours of in-person training over the summer. Like Matt mentioned, that's about team building and cohesion and helps you plan your lesson for the coming year. And then there's also 20 hours of asynchronous online training that takes place, broken up over 4 meetings, 3 in July and 1 in August. You'll be joining a community of over 1,500 volunteers. We have quarterly meetups. You'll meet other teachers and other teaching teams in your region during these meetups. And there you'll get an opportunity to share best practices, current trends, get some advice. We also have online forums. And what we are looking for, we are looking for volunteers. You are the secret sauce. You are the glue to the success of the TEALS program. And we're looking for volunteers who are able to make a 1-year commitment to teach in person or remotely, or a combination of both. We know due to the pandemic, we've had some schools going to hybrid, but we're looking for all types of teaching models. You don't need to worry about teaching remotely. We've been teaching remotely since 2012. This isn't something that started just because of the pandemic. We do have some schools in some regions where it's hard to find local volunteers. And so we may ask volunteers to teach at a school that's not near them. And some volunteers like teaching remotely because it's less impactful on their schedule. It allows them to, like we're doing here, log in remotely from their location or their work location or their home location, and then they could continue on with their day. So what's a volunteer's week look like? There's about 1 to 3 hours of prep time, 2 to 3 hours of instruction time. So what does that mean? Well, I'm going to have 2 of our volunteers here. First up will be Willie Van, and he's a TEALS volunteer in Brooklyn, New York at Medgar Evers College Prep. Very proud of Willie and the work that's going on at Medgar Evers College Prep. It is my neighborhood school. It's in a predominantly African-American / West Indian community here in Brooklyn. And it is in the process of expanding its computer science curriculum to the point where students will have the opportunity, if they choose to graduate with an associate's degree in computer science. They have been, Willie has been with the program for 3 years, and he's teaching AP Computer Science Java to these students, and they are doing a phenomenal job with this. It's been highlighted and spoken about throughout the New York City Department of Education. And so I'd like to introduce Willie, who's gonna just really introduce yourself and just tell us what does your typical work week at TEALS look like?
Hi, everybody. I'm Willie. I've only been working with TEALS for about 2 years, but they've been pretty exciting. The first one was in person. This last one, well, it was in person until the pandemic cut it off, and then this last one has been all remote. But we've been working with the same teacher, although the teaching teams have swapped. Right. So last year was a different set of volunteers, myself and this teacher, and then this year it's all coworkers of mine at Google that are on the same teaching team. In terms of the week-to-week pace has varied from last year and this year in terms of I'd say some of the teaching material that we've been going off of. So last year we went off of the TEALS curriculum, and they'd have all the slides for you, but you had to put together a presentation, and they had a sort of a way to go through the curriculum. But this year, our teacher actually has a book that they're teaching out of that's more they think they can get more out of. So it's a little bit less time because we already know the material, but you also are preparing slides, but you develop like a very skill habit of preparing some quick slides and going through with the students. So I don't know if that quite addresses the question, or if there's.
No, we'll come back to you. But thank you very much, Willie. And next up, we have Brandy Foster. Oops, went too far. And she's been a volunteer, if I could get the slide to stay, for, is this 3 years? Did I get that right? 3 years. She's currently at Cody High School, and she's been also an all-star, taking the initiative to teach robotics at Cody High. She's also taught with Black Girls Code, and she's really been a North Star and a guiding light at Cody High. So with no further ado, Brandy, please introduce yourself and just give a background of what your week looks like at Cody High.
Sure. Brandy Foster. So a typical week, okay, I have to caveat this, that my teacher is also the robotics coach. Mm-hmm. And this is very community-based for me. My son goes to Cody, he's graduating this year. So it's very much at home. So caveat that I have a lot of engagement with this teacher. We have developed a routine and a pattern. So I co-teach with her 2 days a week. This is her second year with the curriculum. So, you know, starting to get a little bit of a vibe. So it's more so we are using the co.org curriculum, which is set up great for students to be able to, especially during the pandemic, lots of independent ability to work. So generally what we do through the pandemic is we pull up the assignment and we'll walk through it together. And so she's asking questions or I'm asking questions. We're doing the work in real time, inviting students to chime in. Using co.org through the TEALS program means there's very little overhead time outside of actual class time that I have to do prep. So it's more so just like kind of looking ahead, what's going to be coming up, what kind of questions can I ask that might like get some laughs, or I don't know if you've ever seen a group of teenagers on a Zoom call at 8 o'clock in the morning, but you gotta like, you gotta work hard sometimes to even get reactions. So maybe a little bit of looking forward. Right now they're working on their final project. And so we're thinking through like, what kind of project can we do in parallel so we can show off our work as the students are working through theirs, to kind of help brainstorm their ideas. And I won't say, I mean, they'll run into things, but sometimes it's better to be like, this is how you make something, like this is how you make a method with a parameter. Watch me do it, right? And so when they get ready to go back themselves, they have seen the lesson, us actually walk through it and have our problems and problem solve, which means it gives them a little more tool when they get ready to do it independently. Did I answer the question?
Sure. I have a follow-up question for you. And when you're done, Willie, you can answer this one. Why did you decide to volunteer?
Oh, I'd have to like jump in a time machine. So I actually got in through an apprenticeship program back in 2014. The company I'm at, Detroit Labs, has an apprenticeship program, and that's how I actually became a software developer. And almost as soon as I finished, I realized that not only did I love it, but I would have done this like way sooner, right? It wouldn't have been a 30-year life-changing event to switch career paths. I would have done it as a child. I'd have went to college for it. And I said, if someone had just told me that this was an option. And so I was teaching for myself, me and a coworker partnered up with a local school, and we were doing an after school program with some students who were interested in computer science. Sadly, that partner went on to great opportunities elsewhere. went back to school. And so I was like, oh, this is a lot to handle by myself. I got to write the curriculum and go to the class and then like teach the class and then review the work. And I just couldn't do it. And so I was heartbroken to have to discontinue that relationship after the school year ended. And I had a coworker who said, have you ever heard of this thing called TEALS? Like it sounds like it's like what you want to do, you want to teach, and they like give you the curriculum. So like that part of the overhead is gone. And I was like, I'm gonna check it out. And that first year, I was like, I applied literally on the deadline. It was like the last day. But I wanted my baby to have that opportunity. Like, go into STEM, don't go into STEM. But I want you to know it's possible. I don't want you waking up at 30 years old like, dang, I could have been writing apps, you know? I want you to make a decision and know if it's for you or if it's not. And that's why I love TEALS. That's why I've been here for 3 years, because it gives our babies a chance to like see me show up every day. Like, what up, no, wake up. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking their language. They speak mine, and they know that if a teen mom can change her life and get into tech, they can.
Awesome. How about you, Willie?
Something similar to that. I mean, I really like the idea of being able to introduce people into technology, or especially in computer science per se. One of the things, like, so I started working at Google like 5 years ago, but way before that, I dropped out of college. So I never ended up getting a college degree. But when I was in high school, I actually had a very good computer science program in my high school, where they taught us a bunch of stuff. They taught us like advanced, or how to analyze algorithms. So it's basically, I end up working in the tech industry, and I'm running off the stuff I learned not in college, and learned mostly in high school. I did some stuff in college, but it's like, if you see that opportunity is there for you, like that opportunity was created there for you, then the idea that, like, what is it, 47% of high schools teach computer science and the other 47 don't even have a program, like that has to change. And so I like the idea of being, the TEALS gives you the opportunity to step into that gap and just say, we're gonna address it, especially since, like, with tech, you have a serious ability to generate wealth and have, like, you create a condition. It's like a basic, you get a skill and you create a condition where you can actually generate wealth, and you have like a stable income. And it's I know a lot of youth will look and not necessarily see that, but we want them to be able to see that. I think that's
okay. And did you, before going into TEALS, did you have a teaching background, or did you know that, hey, I want to really be teaching and working with these students?
I didn't have a teaching background, but I did want to teach eventually. I was like, one of these days I want to be, become a teacher and so forth. But now I'm going to do the industry thing, and then actually having the opportunity to still be in industry, but to contribute at the same time, like, that's optimal. Like, I'm not going to quit and jump and become a teacher tomorrow, but I can actually still participate in the classroom, helping other teachers, work closely with our teacher, with our volunteer team. But yeah, it's like you have the opportunity while you're in industry to actually help out.
Okay. And how about you, Brandy? What was your teaching exposure before this, or interest?
Yeah, like I said, so actually, before I dropped out of college, that's what happens when you have a baby as a kid. Anyone watching this later, if you're a teenager, don't have babies while you're teenagers. They disrupt everything. But I was in school to be a teacher. And like I said, ended off whole nother path, just doing what I could to support my family's financial needs. But it's always been a passion. Like our babies are our future. Like, we're looking at tomorrow. And we have such an opportunity to guide them into the best tomorrow that it could be, right? And so, like I said, I did a little thing with the after school program for a while. And when it came up with TEALS, so I did it with like 2 semesters of education, right? Of how to be a teacher. So TEALS, the fact that they have the program, you come and they talk to you about like how to manage a classroom. They talk to you about how to write a curriculum, how to do an assessment. Like all those things that I, even doing it on the side, like I didn't have. So I can show up and I don't know, I'm way more confident every day. So like my love of teaching, my passion for children, but now any space I show up in with the youth, I get to bring all these TEAL skills to those spaces, to Black Girls Code, to robotics, and all those other places.
Okay. Thank you both very much for sharing your experience and to actually for doing your work, helping our students find this path and this opportunity in computer science. Now, at this time, I'd like to throw out if there are any questions anyone has for either Brandy or Willie or both, please, you could put it in the chat. And while we check the chat to see if we get any questions, just so you know, these are the 4 basic courses that TEALS offers. We offer an introduction to computer science, which has Snap or Python. There's AP Computer Science Principles, and there's AP Computer Science A, which is in Java, and AP and Computer Science topics. The intro to Computer Science course is just a semesters long where they could get it in either Snap. Snap is a block-based program, or in Python, or they can do a combination of either. And with that, they're going to learn the fundamentals of programming and problem solving, and using problem solving and I'm mixing my words, computational thinking. And in the AP Computer Science A, they also get that, but that's a fairly rigorous course in Java. But the beauty of the AP courses, and you have to know that allowing students to get AP courses at the high school level, number one, it prepares them for college level material, and it also gives them college credits for free, which helps them get done with their collegiate career a little bit sooner, a little more cheaply. So, providing these opportunities for our students is a great way for individuals in the tech space to give back. So basically, anyone on this call, I think if you're a Black technologist, you have a passion for this, I think you will be successful in our program. We are looking for computer science graduates, but you don't need to have a degree. You just need to have, if you're an industry professional, a junior or senior undergrad in computer science. But what we really look for, as you can see with our 2 volunteers, are individuals who, number one, have a love of computer science and a passion for it, but more commitment for giving back and really wanting to help our students learn this material, because I believe that that's what the students pick up on the most, that helps them go on to be successful in our program. So TEALS, the teachers need you and the students need you. There are many teachers, like Brandy has mentioned, they don't necessarily have the subject matter expertise, and they themselves are now learning these curriculums. So that support that TEALS provides, that you will provide, will definitely set them up to be successful in the classroom. And if they're successful in the classroom, our students are successful in the classroom. I understand that not everyone can make that commitment. So if you can't, please spread the word, pass this on to your friends, colleagues, family members that work in the technology space, and let them know about the TEALS program. Any other questions? Did anything pop into the chat?
Yes, I just want to address Mike Rosado says, yes, you do not have to necessarily be a Black technologist. That is very, very true. Our volunteers come from all types of different backgrounds. We are just specifically focused in this moment trying to recruit Black technologists. But if you have friends who are not Black technologists, who are Latino, Arabic, white, whoever, whatever they identify as, please invite them along as well to apply. We want to make sure that our student population gets to see a little bit of everybody and gets to be exposed to as many people as possible. And we also want to make sure that Black students get to see Black students, Black volunteers, and we want that to happen for our students, because I knew how important that was for me. When I walked into a NSBE space and was like, whoa, wait, okay, wait, there are people who look like me. Like Brandy said, speak the same language, like people who know how to come in and be professional and run a business, and then at night they like to kick it and hang out, and that was like my relation to be like, wow, okay, yeah, this is definitely something I can do. TEALS is in multiple locations all across the country.
Yeah, we're in 29 states. So we are in, if your city's Cincinnati, yes, please apply.
So I am one of the volunteer recruitments for Ohio. I'm actually from Dayton. So if you want to apply, please do. We do have several schools in the Dayton/Columbus area. Most of our schools in Ohio are in the Cleveland area, just because of the partnerships that we have there. But even if we're not in your city directly, you can apply and even be a volunteer remotely. So that is something that we encourage everybody to do. Any other questions?
Sure, I'll pass that on to Dennis.
So I was just going to say the link to the recording will be on the website, and it's foundation.blacksandtechnology.net. Tomorrow on the YouTube channel is the link, so you'll be able to get it there.
Yes, and we have a link here that you could apply. Our priority deadline is May 15th, and you can feel free, if you have any questions, to reach out to us. And if you'd like to spread the word or learn more, we also have the following links for you to use.
We are recruiting volunteers for this summer. So training would start this summer in June, and they would start in the school year for the fall, and serve in the 2021-22 school year. Just to clarify that, there was a question in the chat.
And these links can be found to apply on the in the member section of the Blacks in Technology website too. So if you're a member, go to the member section, you can find the TEALS program and apply there as well.
Especially since this is recorded, can I just say something? Do it. It is a time commitment. I know, right? I get it. But I promise you, your stand-up ain't till 10. You have nothing to do outside of eat oatmeal or whatever. You can make it's an hour, a couple days a week, but you are literally seeding the future. Don't we want software and technology that work for Black and brown skin and faces? Yes, we do, right? Don't we want apps that take into account the vulnerable women population, and we don't want them trapped and being able to be found. Yes, we do. So don't just be like, oh, I don't know why they built this. This is build up the next generation who are going to be building the things, right? Do it. Just do it. You can hit me up on Twitter, Beefinity. You got questions, hit me up. But my answer gonna be, you should just do it. It's gonna be worth it. Like, go ahead, sign up, take the training, and just do it. Like, commit for a year. Just do the year. I promise you, you do a year, you're gonna want to do another. Like, those babies are life-giving. Okay. Even though mine frustrate me in the house, like I get to lead them at school. So, like, hey, look, whenever you listen to this recording before May 15th, okay, like, do it and then hit me up and let me know you did it. All right, and I'll throw you a what up though for that. Okay.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think that closes us out.
That closes us out. We don't got to say nothing else.
Drop the mic.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you all. I do appreciate everyone on the TEALS team and the volunteers
And
attendees.
I'd like to thank you, Dennis, for having us.
Thank you very much. If there's any questions or anybody has any information that they didn't receive and need some additional context, please reach out to me directly. I'll get you in contact with the right folks. And like Brandy said, do it. Don't think about it, do it. All right.
Thanks, Willie. Thanks, Brandy.
Thank you all.
All right. Everyone have a good night, and we'll see you at the next event.
See ya.
Okay,
Bye.
good night.